two giant point sponges. All Gamers Global and the Expendables have just been on a tear today and are kind of lowering the overall threshold to maybe allow it to be a bit easier for Twisted Minds. Sure, they hot dropped them. That makes it harder, but there could be a pathing where we could see Twisted Minds still qualify.
It's going to be interesting. And just the fact that it's not even just the fact that they're point sponging, it's that they're going out there and they're taking potential points off the board, right? That for these teams that are in the chase. But now things could be worse for Twisted Minds, right? They're 1 point behind the cut line. They're 6 points behind Cerberus. So it's definitely doable. It's just they have to find something here today, and getting hot dropped isn't going to be the way to do it.
I love
that. Yeah, you can see them already.
Yeah, while we were in between the break, while we were kind of figuring out everything that was going on, and we were kind of chit-chatting, moving into the last game, you made a great comment. The desk brought up that board that had all of the different pictures of hot drops, and it was like, there's 4 Twisted Mind logo on there. Just pick one of them, guys.
There's a million brains out there. Come on, go to one of the other brains. That's fine. It looks like that's what they're going to do, so they'll at least avoid the early game hot drop. But again, this is the last game of group stages, and that is traditionally where the wild stuff happens.
Yeah.
So, you know, if it gets to the point where they're trying to play it safe, trying to get to late game, they can do it, but there's going to be a lot less available points by the time they get there.
So we still have Petrichor Road in touching distance, technically tied up at the direct time with 4 angry men. I mean, fairest circle, the fairest circle we have seen all day today.
Really? Yeah, 100% playable. That's seems like the most rare thing in the world so far here today, as we see Donald getting a little bit close to Ming. Ming, oh, you gotta do a little juke in there, as I think that was either Hikari or Loki taking shots, and yet Ming just gonna go and try to join the rest of his team. Looks like he should be safe.
I mean, that's a safety play. They really wanted to make a move for position, but they were like, nah, guys, look, we only need a few points. Let's not risk it in this firefight early.
Worth pointing out that AGG, they did drop power play. They were like, it's almost just daring them at this point. But I got to tell you, man, if you're All Gamers Global, you better be hoping and praying that Twisted Minds does not make that grand final, because they're going to be going in there, and you are going to have the world's biggest target on the back of your head.
Well, out of anything, I mean, here's the thing. Twisted Minds, Batulans, they might just be in the grand final to go after the grand final. If they get some high points, okay, yeah, sure. They might start to enforce it. What I would be more scared of is the next qualifying session, the next event, because they are going to create some problems if they can.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's like revenge is best served cold, Matcher.
Give me some rivalries. I want more of these international rivalries.
Exactly.
Man.
I'm here for it, man. But I'm just saying, like, it's almost, I think it almost serves TM better if they're in a lobby with AGG and they just, like, at any point, we could come back and just completely ruin your day, buddy. So you have to have that now in the back of your mind for the rest of your life. We'll see what happens.
There's also probably some frustration of, we've been getting all of these wild circles everywhere, and hey, what's right in the middle of the circle? Oh, that's right, it's Power Grid.
Yeah.
So if you're Twisted Minds, you're like...
Well, to be honest, though, I think this actually serves them better, because you can, if you're outside of the zone, you can kind of play a little bit slower. You can play a little bit more safe. Speaking of safe, Delwyn very much aware that Game of Gladiators in here. Pin. He didn't. Where was he looking? I thought this was exactly what he was looking at, but Pin going to land at least one shot on him. He's going to know that he's got some company, and the rest of the boys are arriving. Delwyn all by himself, though, as, okay, it looks like the rest of the gang is starting to make their way in, and this could be a full-on 4v4.
Dude, at this point, you're no longer Delwyn. You're just bait. That seems to be what your job is. You go off, kind of make some noise, draw everybody over to you. I mean, it's good job maneuvering through. Now he's back into that high ground point. He should be getting some assistance from the rest of his team now maneuvering in, and Rox already has an idea where he's going to be at. Goes for the nades, but we already know, Church, you can kind of maneuver around the top of it. Those bounces not quite going to a detriment just yet. Are we going to see them go for the top of him? Woo, Pin wanted to try to make some type of move, but the Expendables, they're already vibing, man.
Yeah, Tanvu taking the high ground over here. He's going to spot one. Won't be able to get the flush, though, as he's going to shoot out the doors, see if he can maybe get some utility in there. Looks like it's going to fall just short or bounce off the wall, so this could be Gaming Gladiators' opportunity to get that res off, but they've got to have everybody looking. No, a grenade going to find Rox, and that is the dinner bell ringing as Delwyn will go in. He's going to find another one, and Gaming Gladiators, their tournament is done.
Woo, Expendables, man. That was a very brutal set of events that you just, yeah, okay, you're laughing. You know that's going to be an evil laugh, too, that he was doing. That wasn't like a ha ha ha. That was like a whoa, whoa.
Well, you know, they showed Delwyn a little bit earlier, and I could see the frustration on his face, and I almost knew exactly what he's saying. It's like, I was watching that stupid tower the entire time. The second I look away is when that man peaked. But in the end, no harm, no foul. TE will take out Gaming Gladiators. Very tough tournament for them, obviously, goes without saying, but I expect to see them back here very soon.
So looking in, most of our teams are already inside the zone. Twisted, Tiamba, and VP are outliers as they're going to be making some rotations in a while, but you can see Circle, pretty center. Everybody knows how this goes. Plenty of space to work around. Sonic's in a pretty split position. They still got Picado, but then they've got the hills just to the north of it. Tiamba going to be rotating wide around Lucionis, giving it a berth just to make sure that it's safe, right? That's all you're really looking at this stage.
Yeah, 100%. And let's see, keeping eyes also towards the center of the circle, just kind of seeing where everybody's going. It doesn't look like if teams are doing splits, they're very, very close splits. Like nobody wants to really take those information gathering splits right now, the big wide ones, and risk getting crashed and risk losing players early. Everybody here really feels like they still got something to fight for, with some two notable APAC exceptions.
Yeah, and they are comfortable, to say the least. I mean,
yeah.
It's Danawa back behind them, and then a big gap. Well, I would say a mediocre gap down the BB team. Luna, though, they did manage to string together a very good day today, but yesterday,
too little, too late, maybe. Yeah, them and the arena, really. You know, it's been an average day, which is not what they needed after having a horrible day.
Not over yet. I mean,
but yeah, one game left.
You can have your big pop-off game. And yes, I'm not trying to gaslight you, chat. You can see that our threshold is right around 60 points. So if you manage to walk away with 10 points, get some kills to stack that up there. It is surmountable, just hard.
Yeah, I mean, right now, 4 a.m. From Group B with 55 points is the cutoff at 16th place, and then right above them is Cerberus with 60. So obviously those guys are sitting there watching these games, sweating as we see New Happy take a few shots towards Inonix as Donawa pushing in to El Pozo as well.
A much-needed point. Driving away into the distance is mildly frustrating. Pozo, the party city at the time. New Happy is kind of running a pretty controlled split. They also have Longsker high ground off in the distance, getting some control. You can see taking those shots right along the hillside to the left side of it there. E Arena is also just to the north of this position, but doesn't have a lot of vision on the rotation that we see coming out from New Happy. Okay, so looking out, big notables that we're going to try to keep an eye on. Luna still trying to make a maneuver in. They're going to have TSM just the west of San Martin. Petrichor Road on the outskirts, southwest of El Pozo. What are you going to do, Petrichor Road, in that 17th place position?
Yeah, keeping very close eyes here, obviously, on Twisted and Petrichor Road. Both of them playing edge, playing slowly, just coming in as late as possible. Want to scout out as well as they can. They don't want to unintentionally just crash into something unexpected. So Luna Galaxy got a little bit close to power grid. They'll take a few shots in their back as they run away bravely off to the north.
Valiantly away. Tires popped, minor frustration. This is a very interesting note whenever we're looking at Twisted Minds over on the far eastern side and Petrichor Road over on the far western side. Edge play can give and it can take away, right? You can get some big kills out of it, but you never feel as safe as you want to. And with both teams on opposing sides, at least they don't have to bump into each other. A target-rich environment for Twisted Minds could potentially be Day Trade as well as T1 in front of them, but it's T1 still inside the race as well. Could be the team that they might not want to bump into.
We also got to keep close eyes on Tiamba, Day Trade, and Sonics. Now, they are above the cut line currently, but not by much, and they cannot afford to go out early. They cannot afford a 0-point game here, so we'll keep close eyes on them as well. As we see E Arena still spotting out BB team. They maybe heard some vehicles and they just, oh, yep, they spotted out Phil first there. So Trigger knows exactly what's up, but he does not have any support here. As, uh-oh, Sonics, that's not what they needed.
H1 down, and the Expendables of all teams, you know, they're going to be like, ah, yeah, we could play around with this one. See if Sonics, the sightline is going to be hard,
nice
but
from H1.
might be able to kind of maneuver him back, see if they can get him to safety. I think that they should. New circle is about to pop in a second. Where are we going? We centering up? Kind of. We're just going a bit to the east.
That was actually really smart from H1 there. He read exactly what Tanvu's angles was, and then you could see him crawling back towards his teammate, and then once he realized that he wasn't getting hit, he stopped and just waited. And due to that, they're going to get him back on his feet, so Sonics will remain 4 strong. Now the Expendables still 4 kills. They still have eyes over there, but Sonics will survive this encounter.
This is a very spicy circle as well. We've got Power Grid, the giant hillside that's going to be over there. Then directly through the middle of it is the decline down into the graveyard low. Luna Galaxy just kind of rushing in, and good angles coming out from Spark and Defendin. And the rest of the team also got it under control. Luna Galaxy is done and out, not making it to the 16-point placements.
And it had to be Sparking, didn't it? Doing it to his countrymen just like that. That's going to be an awkward dinner conversation at PNC as Luna Galaxy will go out.
Okay, so one more team off as a couple of these teams still in a feast position. TE also running a ridiculously strong 2-2 split with control over the high ground and the low ground in Graveyard. This could be very, very feisty if it continues to center up around here.
Yeah, this is one that you're expecting a hard shift to go away, and that you're kind of keeping 2 sets of eyes on that road in the middle. Definitely decent. I mean, they should know that VP is in that strong compound as well on the roadside. They obviously know that Sonics is back there. We see BB team trying to figure out how they want to play this next one out.
And this is a circle that, with the update that's gone through and the unplayable changes, could modify based off of a couple of expectations of what you're used to seeing. So one of the times that those updates that can be happening to map and map behaviors are very, very important due to the way that we kind of see these hillsides line out.
Yeah, checking in with our important teams here, our teams to watch day trade. You can see, or well, you can't currently see. If you got the map stream open, you can see they are split off on the eastern side. They are just taking up a lot of position right now. Meanwhile, Sonics obviously still 4 strong. Center circle looking good. Tiamba making their way into the southern part of the zone, and they have nobody around them as well. So all of our teams that are holding on to position are looking good. Petrichor Road and Twisted Minds, meanwhile, looks like they are both okay. New Happy, though.
I was a bit worried. I saw the fact that Donawa was back behind them.
Yeah, they got Donawa behind them.
But looks like Donawa has stopped over. They might be going a bit more to the north.
We found Petrichor.
So
there they are, out in the blue.
Way off in distance.
Long wrap. Now, this is going all the way down to the south. Now, the problem with this is depending on how they decide to come in here. Now, they're still southwest of the zone right now, but Tiamba is all spread across the southern part of this circle right now. So depending on the route that they take, they could find themselves in trouble.
Is this the smell of the blue zone after, while you're on the road, or the smell of a road, is it?
Yeah, it's a smell. Yeah, it's
smell
a smell
of the rain.
Yeah, after it rains.
After the rains.
Petrichor is one of my favorite words.
It is very, very good.
It smells.
I was about to make
rain
a joke
on
about
hot
blue
concrete.
zone being out there. I don't know. I missed it. It was a good joke, and then I just jacked it all up. All right, Danoa needs to make a move. They're going to go ahead and get kicked out of that position. So now it is going to be New Happy that's going to be held up next to AGG. So while they do manage to take the shots into Danoa, that does reveal them to AGG as the circle does lean back into Power Grid yet again.
Hard shift to the west here, but Donawa read that correctly. I mean, they were coming in right behind New Happy, but they saw them all set up and ready to go. But AGG, meanwhile, has started to creep out here as well. Now, it's only 2 of them. Sir T is still in Power Grid, and Zest is keeping eyes off to the southwest. So we'll see how aggressive AG decides to get onto New Happy, especially now that that sandstorm is pushing in.
The way that the circle is also popped, it's made it to where the hillside that's just going to be the east of Power Grid is a directed barrier, where we see Sonics, VP, TE, everything else like that directly hold it out. E-Arena making their rotation in. Looks like they're trying to move into the north, but Twisted Minds trying to cut a path. Very wide wrap, trying to use the sandstorm, see if maybe they can find some cover. I'm curious to see how they opt into coming into a very interesting circle like this.
Yeah, I was concerned that they were going to try to cut it a little bit tighter there and actually run into EA, but it looks like they're going to go ahead and just take the blue damage for the time being, as the sandstorm has passed them by. T1, meanwhile, getting into a little bit of trouble. Donawa running right into Petrichor Road on the the south side. Tiamba also starting to make their way over from the east. So this could be a three-way fight shaping up here as Petrichor Road. They are in desperate need of points. They need to stay alive here.
Their gate kept out by Sonic's positioning, high ground advantage. Just a couple of shots are going to be coming down. Tiamba does stop off in a bit of a lower ground position that Sonic's does not have an angle into. But instead, it's just going to be brute force. That's what Petrichor Road is going to be going for. But with those shots coming up from the duo, where we see Tiggleton over there to the east, the other duo for Sonics might be able to spot out, and yes, have now started to unload onto Petrichor Road.
I think Petrichor Road actually got a little bit lucky there that it was, of all teams, Tiamba that they ran into, one of the only other teams in the lobby that's going to be playing a little bit more on the risk-averse side right now. As you see, Pow Pow still looking over in that direction. They want to see exactly where Petrichor Road was so they can keep that in mind when they make their way into the zone.
All right, Day Trade needs to regroup, but that's about it. Petrichor Road still just trying to boldly push their way in. See the new Happy AG standoff. Pretty comfortable with this for the time being, as Summer did go down. It's going to be shots from the Sonics aligned into that duo over there. Petrichor Road with the hillside feels like maybe they can go back for it, but that's going to stall them out. This could be a big problem. Going back to try to make sure that they get their one could cost them two, as it is going to be Tiamba coming up right on the same path. They should be able to spot this out, and yes, they do. Nade's already going to be prepped. They really wanted this. Petrichor Road wanted the points. They wanted to make sure that they had the members up. Nade's going to bounce just a bit short. Ming reads it, realizes, no, this is too big of a problem. I've got to get out of here, and well done on it. But is it too late? Ming trying to just get out of here. Blue Zone's going to be doing some damage. Runs the cover, and no, he goes down.
Massive spray from Pow Pow, getting Ming low enough to where he had to pull off of that. So that is going to be another point picked up from Tiamba, and now Petrichor Road. They were desperately trying to hold on, or trying to make their way into this top 16, but they're going to have to do it as a duo now.
Tiamba already in a good position, moving in, going to be able to be heavily rewarded off of that with the way that the circle has shifted.
Look at Twisted.
Really leaning into it. Twisted Minds, what are you going to do inside that circle position? You're about to have a lot of threats coming after you. Sonic's going to be regrouping, but the East also about to pop off.
Yep, Sonics have that two-man duo off to the west. They heard the fighting going. They heard the shots from Tiamba onto Petrichor Road, seeing if they can maybe come over here and sneak something away. But Tiamba diligently laying down that smoke wall and not providing any lines of sight for them. You can see Tiggleton actually in Kickstart find an angle. They're going to take shots. Donawa, meanwhile, they are just doing a tour de Miramar right now as they started off in the northwest, and they now find themselves on the very eastern side of this zone, pushing right into a trailing flash for Day Trade.
Just gonna watch those go by for timing. Uh-oh, now he's gotta go for the spray. Good counter read into it, going, hey, there could be somebody there. And I mean, Danima, man, these guys are so good right now.
Holy moly, okay. That was very, very fortunate that they got him and they spotted him. They're going to just have to throw their knock player into the back of the Bronco right now, though, as the Blue Zone has arrived.
I think with the way we saw them come into that and the defensive line and how they're chasing down Day Trade, they already knew the positionals on it. Day Trade's Nurin does manage to defend in, going for some more shots. Airborne catches it! Nurin's defending and denies and gets vengeance for the down flash.
And you could see him fist bumping in the picture-in-picture right there. He is so excited about that one. Day Trade, they are securing their spot. They needed those points.
But TE heard it, and TE is so hungry. Even with two members, they're like, hey, let's get involved. Delwyn charging ahead. Tanvu going to be back behind it. E-Arena trying to maneuver over here in between New Happy. A big mess going on. AGG also hears it. TSM with a bit of firefighting angles into it. That is going to be E-Arena getting eliminated, and with a couple of kills going over to New Happy, now very happily in the hunt.
And you see AGG actually going to pick Ming Ming off as well. So New Happy down to just 2 players. T1 down to 1 player. Day Trade, that was absolutely huge. That 4 points could make all the difference in the world for them as they make their way forward with just 3. TSM still just spread out over this north side. New Happy will go down as they are finished off in 12th place. That is going to be it for them at this tournament.
34 people alive, and it's getting more and more compressed along this power grid. TSM with a lot of control over onto this angle. Don't want to step in too much more due to how we can see the defensive line coming up for Twisted Minds. AGG still just controlling the power grid area, bouncing between it, but Petrichor Road did manage to move into the southern area. They have themselves a point that they can play from for right now, and maybe manage to make it into the later stages of this game. So all eyes now being drawn to that 16th place cut line as Twisted Minds, Petrichor Road are creeping closer and closer to it.
Just so much space available as there's just so many dead in this lobby. All the way into phase 4, you can see Sonic still dealing with Tiamba. Where's the next circle going to take us? All the way hard shift to the north. So Sonics have a big task ahead of them. Tiamba as well. As you can see, VP is going to have to move, and BB team in a perfect position to do a little gatekeeping here.
Day Trade Twisted Minds happy on one regards. Should be able to manage to make it into later stages of this with placement points. But I got to say, if you're like Twisted and you're all these other guys, you're starting to get a bit nervous. You're starting to see all these kills go down. You're looking at the amount of people alive right now, and it's making you a bit antsy. Keeping those nerves in check are going to be a very big factor. And we know that Twisted Minds can do that. We know it.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, it's in the back of your head the whole way.
Just get to the late game. Survive to the late game. Try to get your points there. Twisted Minds still have 4 up. And some of the teams that were chasing them, or that they are in the chase with, now out. As Sonics and Tiamba, they have not been able to pull off of each other just yet. There's not really much of an option there, as we see now Delwyn, the last one alive for the Expendables. So one of the wild cards in this lobby now almost out.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of hard. He doesn't have a good path in front of him, so he's trying to use this rock for maneuvering, but that's just going to put him into potentially a low sight line, which means all the rest of TSM should spot him in just one moment. See the last member for T1 just trying to like hang out. Alo spotted out. Last member, that's going to be Delwyn down. Zenith, T1, probably not going to be too much longer for this world, as that is a very held angle between Day Trade and TSM both, but maybe he can sneak something out.
Big knock there for Sonics onto Owo. That's going to open up a little bit of a door for them to hop in those vehicles and try to reposition, get a spot inside this next zone. It looks like they have some cliffside to play as we take a replay of that absolutely destructive spray from Nurans onto Donawa. Great tournament for Donawa so far, but that was desperately needed for Day Trade.
Yeah, that was a grand finals sigh of relief spray if I've ever seen one. Do note, we do have Petrichor Road not inside the safe zone. While yes, I'd say about half, I don't know, what, 3/4 of Power Grid is in play. They do have Tiamba that's next to them, and AGG with still 4 members up. So Petrichor Road going to have to be very, very careful as the dance from Tiamba right next to them. They don't want to bite off more than they can chew, so you can see they're holding the angle, know where Tiamba is going to be, and now Tiamba being forced into AGG's line maybe might provide a distraction for Petrichor Road to exploit.
Again, just keeping an eye on the overall leaderboard. Remember, you see Petrichor Road and Twisted Minds sitting in 17th and 18th currently. The 15th and 16th place currently right now. 4 Angry Men with 55 points and Cerberus with 60. So that is the cut that Petrichor Road and Twisted Minds have to go for.
Okay, lines in. Day Trade spotted out TSM. Firefight up into the north. Also want to shout out that Zenith is using this as a distraction to creep in back behind TSM, so might be able to buy a couple more points. We'll have to see how that all manages to stack together. VP also managed to make it in the circle down to the southeast. Sonics in control of the due south. Circle, oh Circle, where are you taking us, and who's got the destiny on their side? It's just going to go pretty much centered up. It's going to be Twisted Minds in a good position for now, but a couple of threats assaulting in, most notably TSM in a very split position and good firing angles as they're starting to make their way in.
And Sparking's going to spot out Batul, and so that's TSM now aware that Twisted Minds is in that dip. You can see Alo. It's a different. Oh yeah, they're not even expecting this. Oh my goodness, that is not something you see very often. Alo missing some very, very easy shots there. We'll see if the grenades can follow up.
So with this, we do have a member of AGG that has the angle down into it as TSM is just walking directly in. But here come the firefighting back behind. Let's not forget about Day Trade. Zenith, T1 still alive back behind all of this. Luke is lining in, creeping right up next to Batul and should be able to spot him out. Does. Nade lands on top of him. Twisted Minds in shambles. They're in some trouble. Petrichor Road goes down at almost the exact same time as all of this. Petrichor Road is out, and you can see Twisted Minds just trying to cling to life. They need more.
They don't have enough. It's down to just example. He'll find Kurt, and then he's going to seat swap into the Bronco, but no, Alo's going to take him down, and Twisted Minds are out. They will not be in our grand final.
Looking at it, looks like Petrichor Road managed to just barely do it based off of placement, positioning, and a kill. Sitting at 16th place right now. That is absolutely insane. Looking to stack in. BB team now having to deal with all of the movement going on down to the south. At this one, it's going to be them, and Sonic's getting caught up in a dust-up. BB team just a bit more to the north, also going to have to deal with what's going to be going on with BP. Day Trade hears all of this. They're going to be trying to third party on top of all of it, and there you go. It is now entirely open. Day Trade, Sonic still alive.
TSM has been putting on a show so far in the first 2 days, and they take out the favorite for this lobby. Let's see if they can survive against now this push from Day Trade. Meanwhile, Zenith's still alive for T1. He is doing everything he can to secure some more points for this org.
Oh, he's just trying to buy more and more. But I mean, if he manages to pick up,
can he get 4 more points?
Yeah, I mean,
Or 5 more points. He'd have to go above Petrichor Road.
Yeah, he's got to get one more with it. That kill for Petrichor Road is pretty much the deciding line. But oh, look, man, Alo just, he knows something's creeping him back behind him. Tiamba's also spotted him out. No, gets shut down. All dreams now done. We have our top 16. Who's going to be making their way into the grand finals? But we are not done just quite yet. We got some more spicy game to continue going with TSM in control of the North, but Daytrade really wants to take it from him.
All right, time to put some emphasis on this thing. Put a stamp on it. Let them know before the grand finals what you're coming with, as Daytrade now up to 8 kills, continuing to dominate the north side of that lobby. Purdy Curdy now the last player alive left for TSM. Sonics now taking the fight with AGG on the south side.
Dancing around, good control coming up from the top of the hillside. No, that's a pretty big exchange.
1v1.
Multiple members down for Sonics, one down on AGG. So yeah, leaning this into a 1v1. But it's going to be Daytrade with some vision of the firefighting on position. And yes, Surtee now the last one up. Is he just going to commit and try to go for something after these down Sonics members? He doesn't have a lot of options to move. Daytrade just has this entire circle under their thumb.
You got to give credit to Sonics, Tiamba, and Daytrade. They came into this game having to fight for their spot, and they did exactly what they needed to do. You can see the kill counts on each of their sides, and they've made the top 5 here. So mission accomplished for these guys. We'll see if they can pull off a little bit more here in the final as we wait and see who's going to take home our last win as Surtee gets spotted out by CC108 Tiamba. Huge day today for them.
See, pretty slowly creeping in, might be a distraction, might be able to pick on something going on with Nurens, but Nurens is already aware. Tiamba creeping in, similar pathing. It's going to be Thanadol, pretty much in the thick of all of it, looking at what's going on with Tiamba as well as Sonic's last 2. You can see just kind of hunkering down. It's best that he can get out of this position, but Nurens still trying to see if he can spot out that sneaky snake that's playing around into his north.
Just looking at things overall, obviously TSM had a fantastic first day, 56 points. They're going to end up with 96, maybe a little bit more even if Purdy Curdy can find a few more. So that's a fantastic performance for them. Daytrade, an awful day one, only 20 points. And man, did they turn it up here when it mattered the most. Tiamba as well, just being remarkably consistent throughout here. Sonics doing exactly what we expected Sonics to do. So all of these teams really in the top 4, they have definitely earned their spots in the grand final.
See how this is going to play. Pacing, slowing down now as everybody kind of breathing a sigh of relief. Maneuvering through these lower sections. Kurt does get spotted out, does take down Thanadol, though. That could be big. Sonics do spot out Nurens trying to go for the res at range. A couple of exchanges of bullets between them. He can't quite move in. It's going to be Tiamba that also hears this, now moving a bit more aggressively into Nurens' pathing. So now directed 2v2v2.
One of the things you could say about Sonics is they are a team that you expect to get a lot of kills, and that's usually how you expect them to find their way up the leaderboard. But they have been remarkably consistent at finding late games here, especially today. So that is some scary news for everybody in the lobby, is they haven't got the kills that they normally get, a little bit slower on that regard, but they are getting to late game. And that is good news for Sonics fans heading into the grand final.
Tickleton sitting at 3 kills right now, dancing around, very aware of where the members for Daytrade are likely at. Tiamba still needing to make a couple of more footsteps into the zone.
Late games here, especially today. So that is some scary news for everybody in the lobby, is they haven't got the kills that they normally get, a little bit slower on that regard, but they are getting to late game. And that is good news for Sonics fans heading into the grand final.
Tickleton sitting at 3 kills right now, dancing around, very aware of where the members for Daytrade are likely at. Tiamba still needing to make a couple of more footsteps into the zone, but don't want to overstep, realizing the fact that it could be a bit more dangerous. But the lineup is pretty open for him. Nurens is the one that's going to be looking into Tiamba's pathing. See that it's going to be coming up over that hillside, and that's going to be the scary thing. Once they profile up on the top of it, Nurens is going to have that angle in. But with the way we see it, Belmoth also has to be pretty careful. Sonics do have Tickleton that's creeping out right against the blue zone wall, trying to stack in, see if he can spot out anybody playing along that little path that we can see Daytrade playing.
Yeah, Tiamba, a little frustrated position here, as they have some high ground to play with, but nobody really revealing themselves, and it looks like Sonics knows exactly where Belmoth is. As you can see, the utility just keeps coming in. Unfortunately, going to get pushed off the rock, but Kickstart not really in a position to where he can take advantage of that. As CC will spot out Norins, and yep, there you go. Linshu going to get Belmoth, and day trade is done. So now it's just a 2v2, Sonics versus Tiamba.
Tiamba appreciating the assist. Tickleton does spot out CC on one side of it. Now a 2v1. Linshu up on top, got a rock to work with. Goes for a nice peek back into Tickleton. Gets some damage onto it. Now, we're going to see a couple of smokes come into play. It is going to be Sonic with more control over that center dot position for the time being. It's going to be Linshu right up against the zone wall, trying to see what he wants to do with it. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they're doing some quick math, but everything else like that. But Tiamba should know that they're pretty okay. But it's going to be a 73-74. Whoever takes this one is going to be the higher one on the leaderboard.
Absolutely, and given that's the one thing though. Sonics has had a hard time getting the win, right? Like they've managed to get into the top 3 several times, but they haven't, I don't think, gotten a win just yet. So I'd have to go back and verify that. But they've got Linshu backed up against the wall right now. Kickstart and Tickleton know exactly where he is, and it's just a matter of time here. Linshu just going to lay down those smoke walls. He would love to be able to pull off a 1v2 here.
And he has an opportunity with it. It's just going to be very difficult. The smoke's now coming down. And so Sonics can't really play too many different angles due to how this terrain is lined up. So it doesn't mean that they can take a wider 2-2 or 1-1 split separated out. And it looks like you can see that's what Tickleton's trying to do with
utility.
the bit of cover that they've gotten. Yeah. I mean, well, he also has been kind of walking up here where a lot of the kills have been coming into play. So seeing if maybe he can get some more utility out of it.
Ooh.
Tig does take a face full of nade, though.
That one getting a little bit close there.
Oh, Kickstart had the nade up. Oh. Linshu creeped in right down below it. He has been spotted out, though. Goes for the spray, and that is going to be Sonics picking up the last game for the group stage.
Big win there for Sonics, just to kind of get themselves right before heading into this grand final. Especially, you talked about last game, maybe a little tilt coming out with how that thing played out, but no doubt about this one. Sonics coming through in a big way when they absolutely needed to secure their spot.
Petrichor Road, 1 point, man. 1 point. Respect.
All you need sometimes.
Respect. 1 kill. Woo.
But, I mean, obviously, we'll talk further, tomorrow to the rest of today. But, man, Twisted Minds, I think this might be the first time we have not seen them qualify for a grand final in international play.
If it's not, it's first time in a long time, as they have been a historic squad. And I would say the surprise factor in this one is it has been a brutal contest. And if anything, the plan that we saw come out, hot drop, get control over power grid, rewarded.
I mean, a lot of shocks in this lobby, I would say. One of the biggest one, I mean, oh my goodness, the performance of APAC in the second day.